Hello everyone, it's Rich here and welcome to episode 4 of the Retrorectionist. Today we're going to be looking at Flea, a platformer with a twist by LowTek Games. Look at that, a year off the air and I've still got it. Roll credits. Wait, come back. Sorry about this, but I forgot to say like and subscribe. Usually I'd just let that go, but unfortunately we lost a few during the old hiatus and we need to get the numbers back up where they should be as soon as possible. So please consider liking and subscribing. I don't mean they died, by the way. I just mean they lost faith, which is worse in a way, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, mustn't dwell on it. Like and subscribe. Roll credits. If, like me, you've got a penchant for all things NES, but also had the misfortune to be born in the UK, that's maybe a bit harsh. Let's say mixed blessing instead, that sounds a bit better. You're probably already aware of the challenges of collecting for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Sparse supplies on the ground, eBay prices, import fees, having to watch shows like The Game Chasers where they seem to roll around in an endless supply of reasonably priced games like Scrooge McDuck in his bloody vault. Anyway, it's with no small amount of glee that I can tell you today's game was developed by a Scottish company based in Dundee called LowTek Games. Set on the bodies of a range of canine hosts, Flea is a single-screen platform puzzler in which you control Henry, the hyperactive flea. I say control, but one of the interesting things about this title is the lack of control you'll actually have over the main character. You see, Henry, as his moniker suggests, is a rather energetic fellow constantly jumping into the air. It's your job to manage Henry's hyperactivity as he navigates a range of enemies, obstacles and pitfalls across over 80 levels. Imagine Mario Run in reverse. I don't mean imagine Mario running in reverse, I mean imagine you're jumping all the time instead of running all the time. Coding duties for the game were handled by Dale Coop, with idiosyncratic graphics by Ali Lowe and manic music by Tui. Flea first appeared on Kickstarter on the 29th of February 2020 and hit its funding goal within 3 days. Don't despair though, if you missed out, you can still pick up a copy from LowTek's Etsy page. I'll put a link in the description and you can check it out if you are so inclined. Like an increasing number of homebrews these days, it's difficult to tell the difference between this and an official NES licensed title. The most has been made of the physical release, and the box art and illustrated instruction manual not only provide an air of overall quality, but like all the best boxes, deepen our understanding of the game's tone, characters and story. It also comes with a cool poster. At this point, I should probably also mention it's available for Sega Dreamcast, in case you require the razzle dazzle of modern gaming. Okay, now that all of that's out of the way, let's play Flea. Controlling Henry directionally is pretty straightforward. Left and right on the D-pad gets you about the screen. As mentioned earlier, your character is constantly jumping, and while you can never bring him to a complete standstill, you can limit the scale of his jumps by mashing the A button. This takes a little bit of getting used to. The B button is used to interact with the various characters you meet along the way, and then later when you receive your boost or dash power up, it'll also control that as well. Now you're likely going to die a lot while playing Flea, but you'll have a tough job blaming it on the game. The controls are super tight and responsive. The objective of Flea is straightforward enough. You enter each stage through a straw and have to work your way to an exit straw, usually on the opposite side of the screen, collecting bottles of blood along the way. Now one of the things that I really like about the game is that collecting the blood serves a purpose. It can be exchanged for lives at various intervals throughout. This leads to more interesting gameplay where you have to make tough decisions between trying to collect blood in hard to reach locations or heading straight for the exit. Now let's talk a little bit about difficulty. The overriding challenge in Flea is physical. The success you have in the game will be directly linked to how deftly you control the gamepad. However, there is a mental element to the game as well. Firstly, you'll have to figure out how best to reach the exit straw. Then, you'll have to commit the path to memory. And then finally, you'll have to try not to go insane as you attempt to execute the path over and over and over again. That said, the frustration you feel never really becomes overpowering to the point where you stop appreciating the game. In fact, the quick restart times, mischievous atmosphere, and satisfaction you feel when you finally reach the exit straw of a difficult level all lends itself to what eggheads refer to as flow. That feeling of full enjoyment and immersion in a task. Beyond the difficulty of navigating the innards of your canine hosts, you'll also come across a range of enemies with their own unique attacks and mechanics. This includes mosquitoes, maggots, tiny flies, longworm, needle and thread worms, and ticks. Who knew a dog's body could be such a dangerous place to live? Things are switched up for the boss levels, which become side-scrolling battles against an array of oversized adversaries. I say battles, but this isn't so much a case of fighting the bosses as it is fleeing them. Anyway, this adds a different kind of challenge to the game and suitably raises the stakes and the old heart rate. In terms of aesthetics, this is a pretty good looking game. The polish applied to the gameplay extends to the visuals, with well designed, peculiar characters, a cohesive visual style, and a humorous tone throughout. All the individual aspects of Flea feel like they're working in synchronicity to establish a fully developed world for the gamer to inhabit, a Flea GU, if you will. Dramatic looking cutscenes are used sparingly, progressing the narrative and foreshadowing the challenges that Henry will face in the coming stages. The game does a great job of rendering the interior and exterior of the dog worlds the fleas inhabit. There's a sequence of levels that feel a bit like a nightclub, which I think are set in the nervous system, which I particularly enjoyed. But that said, the downside is that the colour palette for some of the early stages can be a bit off-putting, but then I'm not really sure how else you could have represented the dog's innards. Paradoxically, this all contributes to one of my favourite things about Flea, which I'm not even sure is intentional. The gross scenario, the unlikely protagonists and humour all remind me of golden era Nickelodeon cartoons like Real Monsters, Rocko's Modern Life, and of course, Ren and Stimpy. With the world design functioning a bit like the gross-up close-ups Ren and Stimpy in particular made famous. In a game like Flea, where you're going to face a degree of repetition as you try and fail to complete stages, the music can be make or break, and I'm glad to say that Toei's soundtrack delivers. The opening theme perfectly encapsulates the madcapped, entertaining, fun world the developers have devised for the player, while later tracks amp up the pace and drama as things get more serious. Well, as serious as they can when you're playing as a flea who's travelling through straws inside a dog's body. You know what I mean. So yeah, that's LowTek Games' Flea, a very enjoyable auteured puzzle platformer for the NES. Now, if you enjoyed Super Meat Boy or even the humour of Earthworm Jim, I think it may be worth your time checking this one out. And while you're at it, you could also check out LowTek's latest offering, Tapeworm Disco Puzzle, which is a spin-off for a character who first appeared in Flea. Maybe LowTek Games are making a Flea GU. Right, that's your lot. So if you have something to say about Flea or even a question for old Muggins here, why not write it down below in the comments, or not write it, type it down below in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as is possible. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again in a week to 12 months. Take care, love you guys, bye.